Hotels are curious places, temporary homes for travelers, way stations for the weary, grand palaces of fleeting moments where people from all walks of life pass through revolving doors. They bring suitcases filled with clothes and hearts filled with secrets. They check in, sleep, eat, and check out. A simple, reliable rhythm. But what happens when that rhythm is broken? When a guest checks in, but never checks out? In the quiet, carpeted hallways of a hotel, a person can simply disappear. The anonymity that travelers seek can become their greatest vulnerability. A missing face among hundreds goes unnoticed. An empty bed, a cancelled reservation, easily explained away. The system moves on, efficient and indifferent. But sometimes a pattern emerges, a whisper in the data, a ghost in the records. Guests who arrive under the cloak of darkness, only to vanish before sunrise. Swallowed by the building itself, leaving behind nothing but a digital footprint that abruptly ends. And in the heart of that mystery, you might find the one person who sees it all, the silent observer who watches over the hotel while the city sleeps. Daniel was the night auditor at the Cypress Grove Hotel, a fixture in the hotel's nocturnal landscape. His shift began at 11 p.m., ending with the first hints of dawn. Quiet, precise, and unassuming, Daniel was the man who kept the books balanced and the lobby calm. His world was one of hushed solitude, the hum of vending machines, the glow of his monitor, and the silent gaze of security cameras. He watched empty hallways, deserted parking lots, and the still waters of the pool. Daniel's main task was to reconcile the day's accounts, and he did so with meticulous attention to detail. But he kept another record, a small black leather-bound notebook. In it, he didn't record numbers. He recorded people. Late-night arrivals who seemed weary, running from something. Dates, room numbers, brief descriptions. His private log of the hotel's transient souls. Daniel saw himself as a chronicler of the night, the last person to see some guests. He watched them step into the elevator, and he would make a note. He was the last person to see them. And in some cases, he was the very last person to see them. The notebook was more than a log. It was a secret history. And Daniel, its sole author. The first entry in Daniel's notebook was a man named Robert. It was a stormy Tuesday night. Robert checked in after 2 a.m., exhausted and soaked. He barely spoke, took his key to room 407, and disappeared into the elevator. The next morning, housekeeping found the room untouched. Bed made, towels folded, only a keycard sleeve left behind. The manager assumed Robert left in the night. The hotel charged his card and moved on. But Daniel didn't forget. He rewatched the footage. Robert entered the elevator, but never exited on any floor. No footage of him leaving the hotel. He had simply vanished. Daniel wrote it all down. Date, time, details. An anomaly in the hotel's rhythm. At first, he thought it was a strange, isolated incident. But months later, it happened again. A young woman checked into room 215, smiled at the camera, and was never seen again. Another entry in the notebook. The collection had begun. Each disappearance was a puzzle, a ghost story for one. Daniel became obsessed, watching, recording, searching for answers. The hotel moved on, but Daniel's ledger of the lost grew, and the pattern was just beginning to emerge. Over the years, Daniel's notebook thickened, a secret history of the Cypress Grove Hotel. Page after page, he documented the lost, the businessman, the young couple, the elderly woman. The pattern was always the same. late-night arrivals, traveling alone, often paying with cash or prepaid cards. They looked tired, troubled, the kind of people who might not be missed right away. Daniel reviewed footage for hours, confirming arrivals, elevator journeys, and the subsequent void. No exit, no checkout, just an empty room and a digital ghost. He never spoke of it. The notebook was his only confidant. He saw himself as an archivist of the unexplained, the sole witness to these silent departures. With each entry, his process became more refined. Weather, unusual sounds, blind spots in the hotel. He knew the building's secrets better than anyone. The hotel's official records were sanitized, but his notebook held the truth. It was a blueprint for how a person could be there one moment and gone the next. Daniel's obsession grew, and so did the list of the missing. The hotel's rhythm continued, but beneath it, shadows gathered. And Daniel watched, always watching. Years passed before anyone else noticed the pattern. The disappearances were scattered, hidden by time and turnover. It wasn't until Arthur Jennings vanished that the pieces began to fit. His family hired a private investigator, and soon the police were involved. Security footage showed Arthur checking in, chatting with Daniel, then entering the elevator, never to be seen again. No footage of him leaving, no trace in the stairwells or parking lot. But a detective noticed something. At the moment Arthur should have exited the elevator, the hallway camera flickered to static for 90 seconds. The police pulled years of footage, cross-referencing with missing persons reports. A chilling pattern emerged. Each disappearance coincided with a camera glitch at the exact moment the guest should have appeared. The system had a manual override, accessible from the front desk. The logs showed the override was activated on each night of a disappearance, using the night auditor's code. All evidence pointed to Daniel. The cameras meant for safety had become tools for something far darker. The hotel's security was being manipulated from within, and the ghost in the machine had a name. The camera overrides were a clue, but the physical disappearances remained a mystery. Investigators scoured the hotel, but found nothing, until they checked the elevator's maintenance logs. On the nights of the vanishings, the elevator made unregistered stops at a level not on the guest panel. Level S. Blueprints revealed a hidden sub-level between the first floor and basement, a staff-only service corridor. Normally inaccessible but with a special key, the elevator could be rerouted to stop there. The key was kept behind the front desk, accessible only to the manager and the night auditor. The pieces clicked into place. Daniel could disable cameras, reroute the elevator, and lead guests to a place no one else would find. The elevator became a trapdoor, the hotel a labyrinth. Guests vanished into a hidden world beneath the building. The investigators had a timeline, a method, and a suspect. The hotel was no longer just a place of rest. It was a carefully constructed snare. The secret floor was the missing link, and Daniel held all the keys. The trap was set, and the end was near. Armed with new evidence, police returned to the Cypress Grove Hotel, not for a sweep, but a hunt. They found the access door to the service level, hidden in a back storage area. Breaking it open, they descended into darkness, a maze of pipes and concrete, never meant for guests. But the corridor had been modified. A concealed door led to a series of small, crude rooms. Inside, the air was thick with decay. Flashlights revealed piles of personal belongings, suitcases, wallets, a red scarf, a worn novel. It was a museum of the missing, a collection of stolen lives. Each item was a silent testament to a guest who never checked out. The rooms held restraints, soundproofing, and a locked footlocker filled with victims' effects, IDs, credit cards, family photos. The guests hadn't just disappeared. They'd been captured, held in this secret prison. The trap was not just the elevator, but the entire hotel. The police had found the final destination for the lost. Now they needed to prove who was responsible. The evidence was overwhelming. The truth was buried beneath the hotel, but it was finally unearthed. The end of the line had been found. All evidence pointed to Daniel, the quiet man behind the front desk. When police arrived at his apartment, he showed no surprise. Calm, as always. He didn't resist. The evidence was overwhelming: security logs, elevator key, and the black notebook. In its pages, Daniel had documented not just arrivals, but chilling details of his victims' final moments. He saw himself as a caretaker, offering lost souls a final resting place. Using his position, knowledge, and trust, he became a predator hiding in plain sight. He profiled vulnerable guests, engaged them in gentle conversation, and set his trap. Disabled cameras, rerouted elevators, hidden doors, a well-oiled machine of abduction. Daniel operated under the noses of colleagues and guests in the silent hours of the night. He was the ultimate insider threat, exploiting systems meant for safety. The front desk became his command center for horror. The man everyone saw as harmless was, in reality, a meticulous monster. The danger was never a stranger in the shadows. It was the trusted face behind the desk. And for years, no one suspected a thing. The case of Daniel and the Cypress Grove Hotel is a chilling reminder. Evil doesn't always wear a monstrous face. Sometimes it's a polite smile and a pressed uniform. We trust countless people every day, the night auditor at a hotel among them. We assume safety, believe in the systems, and trust the person behind the desk. Daniel's story shatters that illusion, showing how easily trust can be twisted. The very guardian can become the greatest threat. The hotel was sold and rebranded, its secrets buried under new carpets. But the story lingers, a cautionary tale for travelers everywhere. The most frightening monsters are often those standing in the light, watching and waiting. They know the systems, the blind spots, and how to use the mundane for terrifying purposes. So next time you check into a hotel late at night, and a quiet clerk hands you your key, you might feel a shiver of doubt. The greatest dangers are often the ones we never see coming. Sometimes, the person you trust to watch over you while you sleep is the very reason you should never close your eyes.